are back on All Bengals SI, and you guys know who I'm talking to right now, former wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals, TJ Houshmandzadeh. TJ, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. If you hear any extracurricular noise, just have some things going on in the house. But I'm doing well. Looking forward to this weekend for sure.
I'm going to back it up just a little bit because the last time I talked to you, you were just about ready to get to Paul Brown Stadium for a good game in Cincinnati. What was it like to get back to Paul Brown Stadium?
Man, it was good. It really was, man. The atmosphere was great. Hadn't been to a live game in a long time, especially in Cincinnati. I've taken my son to games out here, but to be back in Cincinnati, it was fantastic. The fans showed me nothing but love. That was a good part about it. And we beat the Steelers' ass.
We sure did. Well, we'll move on right now. Speaking of the Steelers, we'll go to the division. If somebody would have told you before the season that the Cincinnati Bengals were going to be the division champs, what would you have said?
I would have said then Joe is back to normal. His knee hasn't bothered him. It doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is he has played as well as he has, considering he had knee surgery. And when Joe, once I was able to spend some time with him, I felt he would win a playoff game on his rookie contract. I didn't think it would be this year, just because he was coming off the knee injury. But not surprised at all. He's the best quarterback in that division, and when you have the best quarterback, and we didn't know this going into the season, and by far and away the best receivers, you got a chance.
They finally got over the hump. You're obviously familiar with the 31-year playoff drought. What did you think of that game this past Saturday?
I picked them to win. I wasn't surprised, but it's always that, are they really going to win it? And then that last drive, you get the roughing the passer, which Derek Carr went to the Hollywood School of Acting. You start to say, oh, my God, are they about to go to overtime? And they made plays. It was a long time coming, but I like Joe's attitude. It's like, this is going to be the norm from here on out. Like, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised y'all surprised. And so I think they're going to win this weekend.
We're going to get to that in just a moment. There are a lot of people who are now putting Joe Burrow into the top 5 of NFL quarterbacks. I think if I would have said before the season, he's a top 10 quarterback, that wouldn't be crazy to say. What do you think about just his full season alone? And he's calm, cool, collective out there in his first NFL playoff game. You would have never known that was a first for Joe Burrow.
No, but I have a podcast called About the Game. And I would say about 5 weeks ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, a while ago, I said Joe Burrow was the top 5 quarterback. I don't care who comes out of the top 5 that you guys already have in there, but he's going in it. And so the Bengals, they have a really good team. The organization seems like it's clicking from top to bottom. But Joe Burrow being a top 5 quarterback is no question. Top 10 at the start of the season, Lindsay, to be honest with you, people have said she crazy. And not so much anymore. I think a lot of people had him 15-ish, 16, but the fact that he can come off a knee injury and take a team in an organization that hasn't had success in the postseason, immediate first playoff game, he wins it. Joe Burrow, man, is setting himself up to go down in history, and not just in Cincinnati Bengals history, in the National Football League.
Let's go to the organization right now, because we've talked about how they've really spent money in the past 2 off seasons when it comes to free agency. Duke Tobin getting some credit, Katie Blackburn. Let's go to Zach Taylor right now. What do you think the job he's done over the last 3 years and just kind of building that foundation?
Zach has done a great job, and a lot of people were calling for his head. And it takes time. It takes time, but Katie Blackburn, Troy Blackburn, they've done a hell of a job. Duke Tobin, and what Elizabeth has done, behind the scenes, Elizabeth Blackburn, many like, who is he talking about? They have done such a great job of making this team a team, and then Elizabeth on the back end, bringing just former players involved in things that they're doing. on the field. Zach Taylor, you give him a quarterback, which he now has in Joe. You give him the skilled players, and it's like, oh, Zach Taylor is really good. Me and Zach text so often, and just kind of keep up the good work, man. You've done a hell of a job. He knows that the players believe in him, and that's more than anything. When your players believe in you, they're pretty much willing to do whatever it takes.
Let's go to the skilled position players right now. Little word association, and we'll start with Jamar Chase. What's the first thing that comes to mind that makes him different?
His mentality. His mentality of, I'm going to break records. His mentality of, I can't be stopped. His mentality of, what you going to do one-on-one with me. Utter self-belief and confidence in himself.
We'll move on to the next one. Tyler Boyd. It's crazy to think that he's a vet in the room because he still feels pretty young at that slot receiver. What comes to mind?
Reliable. You need to play. He'll make it. He'll make it happen. He's kind of, the way Chase and Higgins has played, kind of been forgotten about a little bit. But when the play needs to be made, he's going to make it.
Move on to the third one, T. Higgins, where if he was on another roster right now, he'd be the number one receiver. And you could say that he's a number one receiver on this Bengals roster right now.
T is like a quiet assassin, man. He doesn't talk much. I don't know how he is in the locker room. I know when I was around him, he didn't talk much. He's a quiet assassin. T is one of those guys where you kind of forget about him. And then he'll have a 200-yard game. You're like, oh, he can play too. And so that's the beautiful thing about what the Bengals have. The three guys we just talked about, any one of them on any given Sunday can go off and lead the team to a victory and lead the team in catches and yards. And so that's what makes the Bengals so hard to defend. If that offensive line is protected and Joe is clicking, it's kind of pick your poison.
Who does this team remind you of in the past?
Nobody. I mean, you can't even – people compare them to when you played. And although I think we were better, I'm realistic and say they're probably better than we were, because although me and Chad were really good, we didn't have that third receiver that is good as what they have. We didn't have that. And so they're better than we were. And I can be honest about that. And they're young like we were. The difference is they're not going to get to the playoffs and have one good year and be great on offense. I think this is sustainable, and they'll do it for a long time.
You said that you're taking them this Saturday. What's going to happen in this game, and how far are they going?
The game, to me, it's simple, but it's not so simple. The Tennessee Titans, what they want to do. They want to run the ball. And that's simple. Stopping it is another thing. It does concern me that Ogunjobi is out. That concerns me, because he's stout on the run and he can get pressure up the middle. Rushing the passer with his 7 sacks, I believe that he has. That concerns me. But I'm rolling with Cincy. They beat the Titans last year, if I'm not mistaken. They're a much better team this year than they were last year. And so stop the run. The corners got to play over the top. Do not give up the big play. Make them earn everything. You're going to go 8 in the box, force them to throw the ball, put the game in Tannehill's arm and say, can you beat us? We know the Bengals can run or throw. So whatever you want to give us, Tennessee, they're going to take. And so if they can avoid the turnovers, and Derrick Henry being out of the game for about 2.5, 3 months, he'll be fresh, but he's not going to be in the type of shape he needs to be. Limit the explosive plays. I see the Bengals winning by a touchdown.
I like to see it. And when people say the best way to beat them right now is to keep Joe Burrow on the sideline, what do you say to that game plan?
That's respect, but that game plan is only as good as that offensive line. If that offensive line can do that, then the Bengals defensive line has had a bad game. It's just that simple. DJ Reader, he's stout up the middle. Yeah, you don't have Ogunjobi, but you still have Reader. Hendrickson going to play. Sam Hubbard going to play. Those linebackers are playing. Jesse Bates is playing. And so let's see. If they keep Joe Burrow on the sideline, it's a tribute to the Titans offensive line. I don't think that's going to be the case.
You're picking them to win. That means they're going to the AFC Championship game. What is happening after that? Are they going to their Super Bowl in the first year of Joe Burrow's first full season?
You know what? Let me see. Let me see what happens in this Bills and Chiefs game. Already beat the Chiefs. I like the matchup of them playing the Bills because the Bills play a lot of single high man-to-man coverage. You can't play the Bengals that way. But a lot of things can change. Guys can get injured. You just don't know what can happen. For sure, you don't want to jump the gun and get ahead of yourself, especially in the playoffs. But I like this matchup with Tennessee. It's simple, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a very physical game, and the Bengals just need to be understand what Tennessee wants to do in certain down and distance, certain situations, and they'll be fine.
One last question. It's not even current football related, but a former OG. Is Willie Anderson finally getting into the Hall of Fame?
He should. I've been saying this for years. Like I was the first one saying it. We went 7-step drop. We didn't chip. We didn't help them. I mean, we're a 7-step drop team back when we didn't help our tackles. And so he should have been in the Hall of Fame. I believe he will get in. And I hope this is the start of Willie Anderson getting in, Corey Dillon getting a look, Takeo Spikes. And if they're going to let other receivers in, let's be honest, man, Chad should be in the Hall of Fame. It's not 12 receivers that's ever played football that was better than Chad. And so, yeah, he didn't play as many years and he doesn't have the stats of other guys. But guys that play football, they know. But Willie Anderson, he should be in the Hall of Fame, should have been in the Hall of Fame. One of the best tackles to ever play the game of football. Didn't give up shit, nothing. And go watch our games and what he had to do. It's a tribute to him, the work he put in. But yeah, he should be in, and I'm happy for him.
Do you guys still have like a group chat going on? Do you chat with your former OGs? What do you guys talk about?
We do. It's some guys that I didn't play with that people just continue to add in the chat. And it's guys that obviously we played with them. It's quite a few of us, actually. Probably upwards of 30 of us.
Oh my God. Are you turning off the notifications on that? Because that has to get a little bit annoying.
It does. I don't respond often. Read the messages. I don't respond often. I mean, but a lot of it is also, did that go blank for a second?
It's good. You're good.
A lot of it is also letting guys know things that they need to know outside of football. And if you having any problems, here's a way to get you help. But then we do talk football. And when the Bengals win, I'll be honest, Willie is always the first one. Who they? Every time. Who they? Joe Burrow's the man. So I will say that. But yes, we do communicate. I communicate with the guys that everybody knows about. And I also communicate with guys you would have no idea if I said their name. That if we were cool, regardless of your status on the team. So quite a few of them.
TJ Houshmandzadeh, this Bengals organization is lucky to have you. It's fun watching you cheer on this current team. And I'm feeling you. I feel the optimism. They're going to get the dub in Nashville and they'll move on to the AFC Championship game. And that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Where can fans find you? I know you're a busy guy. You're over there on Fox Sports and you have social media now.
Yeah, I got on Instagram when they did the 50th anniversary. I got on Instagram then. I believe it's TJ Hoosh 84. And then I just got on Twitter this year. I don't even know the Twitter handle, honestly.
TJ Hoosh 84. So make sure you got to follow him along. TJ Houshmandzadeh, thank you again for joining us. You're one of the Bengals' biggest hype mans, and I love to see it.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. You take care of yourself.